So next up we have the sponsors for this track, Rabia and Rafael from Crazy Games, on how cross-platform publishing is the next frontier for game growth.
Well, before we start, actually, Crazy Games has been a sponsor from the Browse Breakthrough track for 3 years now. We're very happy to do that, and we will continue to do so. I think it's important that the web has a space to have these conversations happening. So it's really cool to see how the industry has been changing the past couple of years. We see just a presentation from Reddit, but there's other big guys doing stuff, Discord recently as well. We know that Microsoft is also investing quite a lot on the space. So, and I think that's kind of a little bit more what our talk is heading. I think that there's a lot of opportunity for developers. I think the web, there was a conversation, I think my talk a couple of years back was like, the web is not dead, and it's really not. It's actually alive and growing. Do you have the prompter actually? To move? Oh, okay, yeah. And yeah, so basically, we are Crazy Games, right? We've been in the space for more than a decade, and we work with, I would say, with the majority of people. Yeah, maybe is this one? Right. So.
I mean, this is a shift that is going to affect everyone because this is cross-promotion, this is extra traffic for everyone, and it is free. And nowadays, we are seeing the change everywhere, and we are going to focus on how to use web as a growth strategy.
Yeah, exactly. So just let me just introduce myself. I'm Rafael. I'm the VP of Partnerships at Crazy Games. We are a team of, I think, 9 people here, so which also shows how much we've been growing as a platform as a whole. And together with me, I have a Rabia.
He is my boss, so you are free to come to our booth and give compliments. Because what I do at Crazy Games is mainly selecting the premium games that are going to the platform. So I am your person if you want to publish on Crazy Games later down the line.
Yeah. Cool. So let's start.
Mm-hmm. I mean, nowadays, so I will ask some questions to Rafa to answer. Nowadays, Crazy Games, we have reached around 50 million monthly active users, mainly in tier 1 countries. What does it say about the web evolution?
Yeah, I think like one of the main reasons why the web is growing in Crazy Games is the quality of the game. Obviously, in the platform level, we add new features for retention and so on, but definitely the quality of the content has been increasing, right? That's why we're here over the years talking to a lot of developers and tell them about this opportunity. I think the web brings some really cool stuff, which is like it's very highly accessible, right? You click on the link and you're playing it. For multiplayer games, I mean, I can't imagine anything better than that and easier. So you're really playing together within a second, and I think like what we're seeing with the quality of content as well is like a lot of positive ratings and a lot of people actually coming back. So what before used to be, I would say, one of the major issues on the web, retention, we're seeing like some really great retention happening across the, and with that. I think that's what we realize as well, that the journey can start on the web, but we have the opportunity actually to expand the reach with all the activities that we're doing. So right now we're working in a 3-point ecosystem. We have the crazygames.com, the one with 50 million monthly active users, mostly based in the US, but we also release like a Crazy Games mega app. And basically this app is Crazy Games in a native form. We'll be adding more features. We have our app team as well. But I think that we have the opportunity here, the potential to be like a top 100 app. And that's what we're seeing as well. Great engagements, very good monetization. So by default, if you join us on the .com part where we collect data, you have the opportunity to reach a lot of users without any user acquisition money, and from that also being available on this app that we're growing. In addition to that, we also build now the Crazy Games publishing team.
Well, this is very exciting for me because I'm originally from mobile publishing, and the way we see this publishing platform is not to I mean, Crazy Games or web in general, it is not to replace mobile publishing, it is as a support. So right now, we allow developers to use their game links in the description for their app and for cross-promotion. But what we do on the Crazy Games publishing, it is basically we are supporting all the UA and all the know-how that you might be looking for. But the difference is also that the games are already published on web, so you already have the game played by millions of users, so you have the certain data already. So we can use this data to optimize and better UA, better A/B testing, and better LTV in the long process. So it's all in one.
Yeah, and if you have a game on Crazy Games, you'll see we've been adding a bunch of cool features like benchmarks, so you see how your game compare versus other similar games in the similar genre, and we adding more and more new features which actually give you more data, which can help you be more successful across this whole spectrum, right? So that's why our vision for Crazy Games is really to become like a cross-platform, like which we are already, but definitely expanding to these two new verticals. And I think what really drives the industry is actually growth, right? And we see information from one side that if things are hard to find growth, but we see a completely different path from the web. The web has been growing like crazy. Crazy Games is growing like every month more and more because of the quality of the games, and also all those new things that we keep adding. So just to give you guys a little some of pointers, right? So there's studies showing that the market is growing, and it's growing quite rapidly as well. We see just before here we're having a presentation from Reddit, but we see that there is definitely multiple opportunities for you on the web with the same game, basically, right? You can go to Crazy Games, you can be on YouTube, WeChat, there's Telegram, there's MSN, Reddit, Facebook Game, Yandex, and so on, right? So there's definitely a lot of audiences in different markets, and I think we're very well positioned as well, especially for the US. If you are, excuse me. If you are a school kid, like in the US, or between 12 to 20, 25 years old, the likelihood of you knowing Crazy Games is very, very high. And that's something that we're pushing, our branding, and try to be, a top of mind brand for those users. But we also seeing growth across different demographics. And then I think the latest number that I thought was quite interesting is that, there was a study conducted recently that where they're tracking the amount of games, and it's really like the amount of games coming to the web now is exploding, right? So we're in comparison to what we had previously. We also see this. We also made much easier for developers to collect data early on in their game. So if you have a game, you don't even need to integrate the SDK. You can just put the game there. You're gonna get some KPIs, and then you can see if it's worth for you to continue to develop or not.
I mean, just to give you an idea, is that the number of games that are submitted on Crazy Games compared to last year, it has grown 3 times. It's a good problem to have for us, but
it's also good for the users, right? So they really, and we work more and more towards data. So if you get traction on Crazy Games, it's worth investing and keeping like a live operation happening. So, and if it doesn't get traction, then well, you just move on to your next project. So some more information about the users as well. In general, like I think there's a misconception in the industry sometimes that you think like web games are like casual games, but actually we're seeing more deeper games actually finding success, especially related to monetization with in-app purchase and things like that. But definitely you also have opportunity like, for games more, these evergreen games for like where senior people want to play like something like Solitaire, and they find those very accessible on the web as well. And we see this being translated as well into the user growth and engagement we see across the board.
Yeah, especially for niche games. Imagine that there are millions of users, so the games that are played by a few million users, and they play only 1 or 2 games for hours every week, the game monetizes really well, and it is free user acquisition for you.
Yeah, exactly. So we're just a slide. I think we have to go a bit faster, actually. So just some misconception, and what we're really seeing in user data, right? So it's not only for casual games. You can actually have deeper games. The monetization is getting more and more mature with ads, in-app purchase. There are games doing subscriptions, and then there's also the technology, which is actually evolving. So one point here why the web is actually winning is because it's accessible. It's easier for you to actually publish this in multiple platforms. You have this user acquisition that's sorted by different platforms. As Reddit mentioned, they also have their own community, so you should be leveraging that and not spending money on user acquisition. You also have this viral potential of growth. So we see this some titles, they are able to get tens of millions of users within a very short amount of time. And I think this is also the power of the web. People can easily share what they're playing it, and I think because of the quality of the games being increased as well, this is happening more and more. So, and I think just to advance why this is also happening is just because the evolution of technology. I think we work with most of those game engines. We see a definitely increase into games made with Unity 6 that are high performant on the browser. We have great conversations with Godot, GameMaker, Construct, and Cocos. So we see that all of those game engines, they actually investing right now into getting better web builds coming out of every single game because the interest is also there. So and this is data that we never shared before, but that's from the we released about 900 games last year. We still have a majority of the games made with Unity, but we started seeing growth across with different game engines, right? Construct being still a very popular game engine, Default, Godot also coming along, and Cocos as well. We really work into building new documentation for Unity and building plugins that can help you reduce the game size because we know that a lot of the developers actually like to use Unity as well. So, but these days I think we have great Unity games that are very high performant on Crazy Games, and it's nice to see that as well because a lot of you actually work with Unity, right? And together with that, it comes something that I'm really bullish about it, which is WebGPU. We start seeing more and more of those projects, coming. I think it's still definitely not where the state where I would like the industry to be because those are deeper, more complex games. But we start seeing the games that use WebGPU, like this Project Prismatic, which is like a console quality game that's released on the web. So you can actually click on a link and play nearly like a AAA kind of game, which I think is super cool. And this is what we're heading. I think in the next couple of years we start seeing more and more of those really gorgeous games coming and being accessible with just one click. So I think that's another part which is I wanted to highlight. If you join the web today, it's really that you work on your distribution. There's multiple people that you should be talking to. They're all here. There's different platforms here. You should be talking to them. Because what is changing right now is the way that people actually discover the games. And this is, I think that the main point about this talk is actually just to tell you the shift that we're seeing, that is not anymore about publishing your game on mobile or in particular place. These days the game is actually finding the players. So you definitely should be in as many places where you could, and I think that's something that Crazy Games, for instance, can provide, right? We instant access that you share, the users open up and see the same game, and it's not behind I would say some app stores or something like that. So. And going back, I think this slide got a little bit cut, but we announced Q4 last year, we did a partnership with Perplexity AI for the new browser Comet, and I think that has to do a lot with how people are discovering their games as well, where we use ChatGPT or whatever all the time for recommendations in our daily life, and we start seeing more and more this happening as well with these AI tools. So the web is accessible via their browser, for instance. So you can easily just click on the link, ask what type of game should I be playing based on my profile. So we're moving towards this agentic kind of era, and definitely the web is where this is starting. So, which I think it's nice when we think about use of AI into our daily lives. I think that it's cool to see like that first the web is actually being served.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, when I'm doing any shopping, I'm searching on AI nowadays, like I need something like this, blah, blah. And users are doing the same for the games, and they ask for the specific games, and they can play directly a crazy game on Comet, on the web. So it's quite exciting.
And then you also have this added layer, which I think is super cool. So you have like gameplays of the videos, like added to what you're actually playing it. And there's a bunch of other stuff that comes together with, even helping solve some puzzles if you get stuck and things like that. So I just want this talk is a bunch of recollections of thoughts about things that we're seeing it. So I just want to share some knowledge that we're seeing from developers that are working with crazy games, right? So they're still working with the app stores, so it's not like the web is replacing them, but they are understanding that web can be a crucial part of their strategy, and there's platforms that can help you understand the potential of your game through different communities. You will be assuming you're working with multiple platforms, you will be in different storefronts, which means more visibility for your brand, for your communities. And these days for multiplayer games, it's crucial that your game is populated and the web can help you populate your game and keep your community thriving, right? And again, distribution is key these days. I think it's really what I would actually focusing if I were making a game, make sure that I leverage all the platforms there and understand if those communities actually are suitable for my game.
Yeah, I mean, it's also quite democratic because right now, if you want to launch a game on mobile, you need to have a budget to do UA. You need to have a team to manage all the relationships with the publishers, with the platforms, etc. But the web is basically you develop one game and you distribute it everywhere. Doesn't matter what old you are and how much money you have, basically. And it shows in our games as well, because some of the, maybe like 3 of our top 10 games, they are made by users that are kids, actually.
Yeah, well, we have, that is also, I think it's a phenomenal thing that we start seeing like young founders, like, people that are like younger than 22, 23 years old, and they're building companies, they're hiring people, and they're finding success on the web just because they made a cool game and they have the support of a platform like Crazy Games. So yeah, monetization-wise, I think then the panel will be about monetization. We can touch more base about it, but we definitely see like a high increase of adoption of in-app purchase. We see growth across different demographics, so it's not just kids playing it. We also see like this 35 plus, which have a credit card and will be spending money on in-app purchase, and we also. What we're looking for as a platform as well is this deeper kind of experience that can re-engage the user multiple times and not necessarily like the more casual games. Some tips, I have 30 seconds, so just walk you guys through quickly. Game size is still very important. There's a bunch of talks. You can search for it, how important that is. You really want to get the user quick to your game. We spoke about the game engines. I think we pretty much covered that. Understand the web and the players and really leverage all the platforms that are out there. I think that's pretty much it.
If you have any questions, we are in the first floor, G13. So come stop by. Thank you so much.
Thank you.